Hey guys, I wanted to get this video out sooner, but like many of you, I've been struggling to get through the campaign. I think it's safe to say this launch hasn't been the best. I actually upgraded my GPU last week as well before the launch and was really excited for this leak, but I, along with many others, experienced a bunch of crashes on day 1, FPS drops and all that. I thought my GPU wasn't compatible with POE until I saw a bunch of similar people complaining on Reddit. But anyway, I digress. This video I wanted to share an update on my Huntress Amazonian, and basically, yeah, this was probably the toughest and most grueling campaign I ever had to play through. Huntress is just so terribly weak early on, and you basically are forced into two choices. You either go bleed with Rake and Stomping Ground like you're seeing here, or go Lightning Spears and Stormlands. Bleed is basically an easier playstyle early in my opinion because you're only using Rake and it becomes a one button build. Goratha has a solid guide on going Bleed, so I would recommend checking his channel out. However, the animation for Bleed was a little lackluster for me, so I decided to switch to Lightning Spears. Early on I was using Stormlands plus Sniper's Mark plus Thunderous Leap for both my clear and single target, and it was subpar at best. The issue with this build is that it doesn't come online until you have at least your 2 ascendancies, your level 2 uncut gems, support gems, and also some 4 links. All of which really only starts happening around Cruel Act 1 or when you're past level 40. So until then, you're really in for a slow campaign grind like no other. And speaking of grind, I'm glad GGG decided to eat their vision and reduce the map sizes, finally. This frankly has been one of the worst aspects of the game. Like, look at this. How does this make any sense? This was one of the worst maps where I literally spent 15 minutes clearing the entire map except a tiny corner, and guess what? That's where the final core resides. But anyway, the build does start ramping towards the end of Cruel Act 2 when you get your Roa mount, and it does feel better eventually. I spent 9 hours on Act 1 to 3 and roughly 5 to 6 hours on the Cruel Acts. It is insane, but yeah, Huntress is just not built for cruising on League Start, unfortunately. Anyway, I'll go over my gear, gems, and passive tree in a second here. Alright, so I'm gonna start by going over my gems really quick. So starting off, we are using Rake with Stomping Ground and Brutality. As you can see in the clips earlier, this is a one button build and it works quite well up to level 20-30. And the biggest tip that I would give you is to spec into Strength. So grabbing Strength here and possibly going down here as well to grab more strength nodes. So the reason for that is because Stomping Ground, if you look at it, the shockwave scales off your strength. So the more strength you have, the more physical damage you have, and you notice that in the damage. So that is the biggest tip. I didn't do that. I went all the way down here. I just grabbed these nodes here as strength, and I grabbed this cluster here, Maiming Strike along with Splinters, and then I went down here to grab this wheel. It's good enough, but I think having more strength would definitely be beneficial. Herald of Blood is nice to give you some nice explosions as well. And then after that, I switched over to Lightning Spear. So the gems here, do not take this as an example because I'm still messing around with stuff, but essentially Infused Weapon. I linked it with Conduction, Lightning Exposure, and Blind. The reason for Blind is just so I could use Blindside. It's a nice support gem that allows you to have more crit on blinded enemies. So this will allow us to proc our Sniper's Mark, which gives you a Frenzy Charge when you crit. So very important. And the other way we're generating Frenzy Charges is through Combat Frenzy. Combat Frenzy says that you need to freeze, electrocute, or pin an enemy. So we do electrocute with our Herald of Thunder. Early on, you can also put your Herald of Thunder in either your Lightning Spear or your Stormlands, and then those skills will directly electrocute, therefore granting you a Frenzy Charge. Everything else would be Optional Thunderous Leap, I used that early on before I had the Roa mount, but this is also used to proc your Stormlands. As you can see earlier, you basically throw a bunch of Stormlands and then you leap onto it. It'll cause all your Stormlands to explode. The Roa mount is nice for mobility, really. And Primal Strikes, I'm still messing around with it. It looks like it could be a good single target skill if you're able to consume the shock. So I'm going to try that out. Alright, so that is the gem. Now for gear, the most important thing that I would recommend you upgrade is your weapon. As you can see here, this is the weapon that we were using before. It is actually quite nice. I actually found this as a magic item and I regoed on the 10 to 17 physical damage. So I use this to carry me all the way up to like 40 or 50, and that was when I got, or rather 55, that was when I got this weapon. So it's a nice upgrade, and having a good weapon is a game changer for you because all your damage essentially comes from your weapon. So make sure you get a good piece here. Everything else is just life, resistances, and stats. So if you're doing lightning spears, there is a high dex requirements for these spears. As you can see, 133 dex. So make sure you have enough dexterity as well as a little strength and intelligence as well. A buckler is nice. I don't really use parry. I tried it early on. It's just not the playstyle for me. I also tried it without the buckler and went with Dance with Death, but I didn't notice too much with the 25% more skill speed, so I think I rather have some additional survivability with a buckler. The rings I have to upgrade. These are all trash gears at this point. And then finally the passive tree. Like I said, this is what I have right now. I'm still changing a lot, but basically the spear notes are great. Some elemental wheels here, some penetration here, and then crit notes. I think we want to come out to grab these crit notes here as well. So not that one, but maybe that one, or this crit notes here. But yeah, also I think these notes here are quite strong as well, so I'm trying to make my way over there. But yeah, that is the build. I think the next most important upgrade for me is my glove. I'm going to get a Kitoko's Current so that I can drop Electrocute from my build and permanently electrocute enemies with lightning damage. That is the next priority upgrade. So I'll post an update in the next few days. I just completed the campaign and I'm about to enter maps. So I'll keep you guys posted. Thanks for watching and thanks everyone. Bye.